Live from the Zoom studios, the 17 and Me Show, starring Ambassador Jeff Cirillo, inviting you to join our special guest,
Brian Fuentes, fourth-time All-Star Major League pitcher.
And here we go!
Welcome to the 17 and Me Show, the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals Show. Tonight's guest is four-time Major League Baseball All-Star pitcher and also tossed in the World Series, Brian Fuentes. Speaking of baseball, why do coaches like cooks on their team? Because they make really good batters? Brian was a great pitcher. So let me ask you, why do pitchers pick up one leg when throwing to home plate? Because if they picked up both legs, they'd fall down. Did you hear about the coach who had an opera singer on his team? He went around bragging to everybody. He has a really good pitch. Did you hear the joke about pop flies? Never mind, it's over your head. That's the last time I let you guys in here for free. And finally, what do insects and outfields have in common? They both have 6 legs, always running around trying to catch flies. All right, we'll have Brian on in just a moment after this commercial break from the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Normally I take a golf swing here, but we're on baseball theme, so let me knock one out of the park. Welcome back to the 17 and Me Show, sponsored by the United Nations. Tonight's special guest is Brian Fuentes. He was selected to 4 Major League All-Star games. He ended up with 26 victories and had 204 saves as a reliever. He is also credited with the Game 3 victory over the Philadelphia Phillies that helped catapult the Colorado Rockies into the 2007 World Series. Brian's not only seen as a local leader for all the time he spends with our youth on the baseball field, but he's also a great asset to our area as he helps kids get to find what their passions are and lead them to their goals. How are you doing tonight, Brian?
I'm doing great, Jeff. I appreciate you having me on.
Well, I'm really excited to talk baseball with you tonight, Brian. I've seen you a few times out on the field working with students, and your excitement and your experience for the game really makes it an enjoyable experience for our students in our area. So thank you for that. Wanted to start off tonight with a background question. Where did you learn that you were going to excel at baseball, or where did you find your passion for the game itself?
That's an interesting question. You know, there was a lot of different variables that led me to my final destination in professional baseball, and the first one was you know, just my education. You know, when you start off in Little League, you play Little League for a certain amount of time, and you get to finally a certain age where you can't play Little League anymore, and it's time to go into grade school and high school, and having the ability to play on those teams in high school was big for me, you know. And if I didn't have the grades to play, you know, having the 2.0 required to play athletics for these teams, obviously none of this probably would have happened. And I've seen a lot of very talented players who through high school and even in the grade school kind of fall by the wayside because of that little obstacle at school. It's such a little thing, but it played such a big role in where I'm at today.
Well, I know you went to Our Lady of Miracles here in Merced. What high school did you go to? What was your experience there?
I went to Merced High back when I graduated in '93. So that was when we still only had one high school in the area. It seems weird to say that now, considering we have, three or whatever it is. I went to East Campus when it was just freshman only, and then once I turned sophomore, I went over to North Campus, which is now Merced High.
So what was it like, the background in your baseball? Did you go from high school directly into the minor league system, or did you go to school?
No, Merced Junior College. I played at Merced High for 3 years, and then when I graduated high school, I wasn't even really sure that I was gonna go on and play collegiately. It was I was a little insecure about my ability to play at that level, just because I was so new and I hadn't played a ton or I hadn't pitched a bunch, and fortunately the coach had approached me about coming out for the team, and I was a little taken back that he asked me to come out. So I was like, okay, yeah, for sure, I'll come out. And through a lot of different trials and tribulations, I was fortunate enough to grow quite a bit. I was a very late bloomer. I was very small in grade school. I was probably, going into my senior year of high school, I was only 5'8", maybe 160 pounds. And by the time I graduated, I was, 6'1" and 170 pounds. So I grew really tall. I didn't put on much weight, but I grew quite a bit. And then going into college, I was able to kind of fill out that frame. And by the time I finished college, I was 6'4", 220. So it was a very late onset for me physically.
Is there one person that stands out as somebody who helped you during your journey, who really stands out as somebody that helped guide you to where you needed to go?
Yeah, for sure. My father has always been kind of my role model as far as the guy that I looked up to. I used to chase him around the softball fields of Merced while he was playing his different rec league softballs, and he was a police officer for 30 years. So they played like a law enforcement tournaments and whatnot. So I was always in the dirt playing catch and shagging balls with his teams. And I always wanted to play baseball for a living. I said that, not knowing really how much work and how long of a road it was to play baseball as a profession. I just kept trucking along, and one of the biggest points of my career was when I was cut from the my junior year in high school. I was cut from the team just because physically I wasn't one of the players that should be out there. It was no fault of the coaches or anyone, but just my own. I gave it my 100%. I just didn't have the ability to make that team. It was a very talented team that year. When I came home, it was the first time I had to look my father in the eye and tell him that I didn't make a team. And I was really embarrassed and not sure how he was going to react. And he just looked at me and asked me if I had tried my best, and do I think that it was a fair decision? And I said, yeah. I said, the other guys are just a lot better than me at this point. And he said, son, I love you, and it's as long as you tried your best, and we'll figure it out, and we'll keep working at it and go from there. So I ended up getting a job that year at Subway during the school year, and was just kind of making a little spending money, and went and played in the summer during Legion, and like I said, I just kept at the grind. And my senior year, I came back out. I was still pretty mediocre, but I was good enough to make that team that year, and as I say, the rest is history.
Well, Brian, if you don't mind me interjecting a little personal history here, I had the pleasure of working with your dad on a nonprofit softball tournament. It was to help out children battling cancer. It was called Parents for Heroes. So every once in a while, I got a jump in the games when somebody was short. So I not only got to play with your dad, but got to interact with him. He's a great guy. And I understand why he was such a wonderful impact in your life. A question on your mission. When did you find out what your mission was, and why is it a driving force in your life?
You know, my mission is to affect as many people as I can in a positive way. Having a platform through being a professional athlete has really opened my eyes to, like, you know, I'm a religious man and a man of faith, and I believe I was put here on a purpose. You know, and sometimes you look back and I think, man, I was very blessed to be put in this situation. I mean, I definitely worked hard, but it was a God-given ability, and a lot of, you know, I've had a lot of fortunate things come my way, and I'm thinking, man, what is this about? Why did I, you know, get put in this position? And then I started thinking, wow, you have so much ability, so many opportunities to make an effect on other people's lives through just a kind word or a kind of action. And people look up to you as a professional athlete in a way that, you know, I did when I was a kid. You know, I looked at, you know, some older guys that I played with, or guys that I saw on TV, and I thought, wow, man, these guys are like, you know, almost godlike themselves. You know, you look up to them so much. And, you know, when I get in that situation, I realized, you know, we're all the same. You know, we're all the same. Just some guys are very talented at different things. You know, whether it's, you know, I hear a guy playing guitar, like, you know, a musician playing guitar. I'm like, man, I wish I could do that. You know, like, I have no musical ability, but, you know, I was blessed with the ability to throw a baseball. So that was my thing. That's my stage. And so I just started to, you know, go to a lot of youth events and talk to kids and let them know that it's okay to fail, and things can be different if you make them, you know, you put yourself in a situation to make them better. You know, whatever adversities you have, there's always, you know, there's always change around the corner, and not to give up, and to really just stay positive. And it's so hard because when I was at their age, I would hear people say the same thing, and I'm thinking, okay, well, that's easy for you to say, you know, when you go back to your mansion and you know, hop on your Learjet and drive off. But there was so much truth in that. You know, there's so much truth in the fact that, you know, you do have an option. You do have, when you're given the opportunity to go to school and get a free education in high school, with the opportunity for free education in college if you do well enough. There's so many opportunities for there to seize that, don't take those for granted, and really appreciate, you know, when someone lends you a hand or you know, gives you a nice word or a kind word. It's those are all very important things, and so I try to simulate those acts and touch as many people as I can.
Well, it's that time in the show to have a commercial break. So while we're at it, let's all help support Major League Baseball. Welcome back from our commercial break. Our special guest on tonight's show is Brian Fuentes. Brian, this is my favorite part of the show, where I get to ask our guests which one of the 17 SDGs is their favorite and why.
I would say for me, my favorite SDG is definitely quality education. As I spoke before, I think it's something that is one of the most underappreciated jobs you can have as a teacher, and we kind of take for granted that, you know, we go to school and we have a lunch and we go home, we do homework, and it's more of a chore, and it's hard. And as a youth, you know, I wasn't a straight A student by any means, but I did appreciate the fact that I was given the opportunity to get the education that I have today. And I think if more of our youth would look at it more as an opportunity and less as a burden, it would really help them grow as people and ease their future for sure. All this being said, nobody likes homework and nobody likes tests and these sort of things. But this is all part of the process to develop you into a healthy, productive adult. And that's kind of what I tell my kids is when I get home and they're getting upset because they had a poor score on a test or they get a bad grade for their term. It's not punishment. This isn't punishment. This is just an opportunity to develop you into something you want to do later in life. You don't have to be a mathematician, but you have to know arithmetic to be an engineer, to create, to be an artist, to be all these basics of education are useful in some sense. So a quality education is something I feel that as a society we undervalue. I feel like there should be more. I feel like teachers should be paid more. That's just the way, my personal feelings. With a higher quality pay, I think we'll get higher quality teachers and more people go into that field. And then, that will be reflective in how our country is viewed and how we produce as a whole. So I think that's my biggest SDG.
Well, Brian, I've had the opportunity to talk to you a few times. To me, you're an extremely humble person. You really have a heartbeat on what's going on in your community, especially with your youth. So I would like to ask you, do you have any words of wisdom, encouragement, or advice to give to my students and our viewers tonight?
For sure. If I had to give any advice to the viewers and listeners, I would say, don't give up. To keep grinding, and no matter how bleak things may seem at now. I had a good friend tell me once. He said, something that you're really worried about, you're stressed out. I mentioned, I'm stressed about this or that. He said, you know what? Think about whatever's stressing you out most, and think to yourself, and a year from now, is that going to matter? Is it going to matter that my girlfriend dumped me, or I wasn't able to get a pair of shoes that I really wanted, or I didn't get to go to the dance, or things like that, which are all those are big deals when you're a young kid. But over the course in a year, are those things going to matter? Probably not. So remember that when you're struggling and you start to get depressed and piling things on and getting upset about things, that things will change, things will get better. Put yourself in a positive mind frame if possible, and do and follow your dream of something you enjoy. Don't follow other people's dreams. Follow things that you enjoy, because that's going to make work so much easier.
Well, time has really flown by, Brian. I had a great time interviewing you. But before you go, I'd like to take this opportunity. Are there any links or websites you'd like to let our viewers know about tonight?
No, I don't have any charities or organizations I promote. I like to just spread myself out, and I'm kind of like a man with no home. But like I said, I really enjoy talking to people and sharing my experiences and letting them know that there's people out there who care and they want to help.
Well, Brian, once again, I wanted to let you know how much I appreciate your time tonight, and really for our general community. I know you spend a lot of time with our youth and trying to help them attain their goals. So thank you very much.
My pleasure, Jeff. Thank you again.
Thank you very much for watching our show tonight. If you'd like to learn more about the 17 Sustainable Development Goals or teach it in your classroom, please go to teachsdgs.org. Hope to see you on our next episode. Have a great night.